Welcome to Microsoft OneDrive for Business, Basics and Beyond. I'm Jason Bursack, a productivity trainer for IT Showcase at Microsoft. OneDrive for Business is a cloud-based document library that integrates with Office so you can organize all your work in one place. Today I'm going to demonstrate how you can move to the cloud with OneDrive for Business. I'll show you how to get started with OneDrive for Business, including how to store, share, and access documents securely. You'll learn how to synchronize your devices to your library and access your documents from anywhere on any device. Our agenda today covers getting started, managing files, sharing, different ways to access, and a demonstration. Okay, let's start with getting started. So what are the benefits of OneDrive for Business? There's a lot. You can store and organize your work documents securely in the cloud. That means your work documents aren't stored primarily on your computer, which is really a bad idea considering something can happen to your computer, something can happen to your hard drive, and then if that's where your documents are stored, they're gone. So if they're stored securely in the cloud, you're backed up. So you have that benefit. Sharing documents with your coworkers becomes a lot easier with OneDrive for Business because you can collaborate with them together. You can share documents with your coworkers without having to worry about having multiple versions because you're emailing documents back and forth and not keeping track of versions. So it makes sharing and collaborating that much easier. Also, you can synchronize documents to your devices with OneDrive for Business so that you can access those documents offline. If you happen to be offline, you can open up a document and work on it on your device. And then as soon as your device hits the internet again, those changes will roll up to the cloud. Here's a screenshot of OneDrive for Business UI here, and as you can see, you've got a document library and a variety of different things you can do, and we'll get into more of this in the demonstration here in a bit. If you want, you can return to the classic view. This is a function that you can access in the lower left-hand corner that makes the OneDrive interface look more like the classic File Explorer type interface. You'll need to sign in using your work or school account into Office 365 in order to access OneDrive for Business. And then once you're signed in, you're ready to go. So we are going to segue now into managing files. You can create a new document right in OneDrive for Business. You don't need to create the document on your PC and then upload it. All you need to do is click or tap the New button in the interface, and that will allow you to make a new document, be it a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation. You'll name the document, and if you want to, you can edit it in the web app, or if you want to open up the Office application itself, you can edit it there. And then when you save it, it will be on your OneDrive for Business. You may have some existing documents that you want to put on your OneDrive for Business that aren't there yet, and it's very easy to upload. There's a couple different ways to do it. You can use the Upload button, which is circled here in this picture of the interface, or you can simply drag and drop files from your Windows File Explorer right onto the OneDrive interface. You've got a section on the left that allows you to check on your recently used documents. So if you've been working on something, it's very easy to open it up again right away without having to hunt for it. We encourage you to synchronize your devices. There's a sync button that you will click or tap, and what that does is it allows your files in your OneDrive for Business to be accessed offline on the device that you've synchronized. And as you can see from the screenshot of the Windows File Explorer, it adds a Microsoft directory there with a little cloud, and that green check mark that you see in the screenshot means that that device is synchronized and all of the changes have been downloaded. What if you have a synchronization problem? This doesn't happen terribly often at all, but if you do have a problem, one of the best ways to fix a synchronization problem is simply to remove the document from your OneDrive for Business and then put it back on. And probably 9 out of 10 times that will solve the problem. Now you do have to make sure that you don't have any special characters in the title of the file in your OneDrive for Business. For example, a percentage sign or a pound sign or an ampersand. OneDrive for Business will not save that file correctly, and it will not synchronize. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have a Word document, for example, that has ampersands in it. It's only the title of the document that you will not be able to have these special characters in. Your Office Upload Center will notify you if something is not uploading appropriately, and You'll be able to resynchronize your library if you, in any event if you pause synchronization or stop using the OneDrive for Business icon in the lower right-hand corner of your Windows screen. So using files, you'll be able to access your files with your OneDrive for Business in a variety of ways. For example, one way to do it is simply to double-click the name of the file, and it allows you to open it. You can open up a file in either the web app or in the full Office client if you've got that on your device. You can create new files too. So it's just like using any other device, only your files are stored on OneDrive, and you have that protection and that backup and all the advantages that come with it. There's a client in the lower right-hand corner of your screen that will allow you to change the settings for synchronization. As you can see here, we have pause syncing is highlighted, and you can choose 2 hours, 8 hours, or 24 hours. This might be something you want to do if you're sensitive about bandwidth over a certain period of time and you don't want to synchronize. After the period of time has passed, OneDrive will then automatically continue to synchronize. You can select which folders you want to synchronize. This can be a very important feature to access. For example, if you have a device with a smaller hard drive, maybe you have a tablet PC with a solid-state drive that doesn't have a gigantic capacity to store files, and you actually maybe have more file space in your OneDrive for Business than on that device. And in that case, obviously you do not want to synchronize the entirety of your or attempt to synchronize the entirety of your OneDrive down to your device, because it simply isn't going to work. You need space for the OS, you need space for a variety of other things on your device, and you simply don't want to try to clog it up that way. So what you can do is select various files. Now, maybe you've got a backup repository that's a few gigs worth of old files, and maybe you feel like you don't need those synchronized. That's fine. You're able to select on a folder by folder basis what files you want synchronized on a per device basis, and this can be very important depending on how much space you have and maybe some bandwidth concerns as well. All right, let's talk about sharing next. It's very easy to share documents or folders with people using OneDrive for Business. You'll access the sharing menu, click share in the ellipses or in the sharing menu, and there'll be a dialog box that opens. And what you'll do is you'll choose who you want to share with. You can use email addresses, you can use names if you have access to a global address list like that, and you can share either on a document basis or you can share an entire folder. Managing sharing is easy too. Maybe you want to go back in and access, who can see this, who have I shared this with. You can always go back and look at that information, but you can also change it. If you shared, let's say you share a Word document with your team of 10 people, and let's say someone leaves the team, and it's appropriate at that point to unshare that document. You'll be able to go in and make that change there and remove access to the file from that person. There's also a feature here that allows you to send emails to the people you're sharing with, and it's really great to send an email to someone if you shared something with them, because it allows them to know that they have either viewing or editing privileges for the document, and that document is probably going to help them in some way. Next up, we'll talk about access. I think one of the best ways to access OneDrive for Business is right from your Office application. You can save documents to OneDrive for Business from your Office application. You can open up documents from your OneDrive for Business, and you can also share right from Office. And this is really great because then you don't have to open up the web browser, you don't have to open up the File Explorer. You're working in Office, you stay in Office, and you go ahead and do whatever you need to do as far as the document management process is concerned right there in Office. And you'll see those options there in the File menu, regardless of which Office application you have open, the Save As open, and you'll be able to access that OneDrive directory right there. So that's a great way to access OneDrive. Here's just a screenshot of inviting someone to look at one of your documents without having to leave Office. You simply click on Invite People under the File and Share options, then you're going to type those names or email addresses into the blank, send them a little personal message, and then click Share. They'll get an email with a link letting them know, hey, you now have access to view or edit this document. You can access OneDrive from your mobile device, regardless of what kind of mobile device you have. There are applications out there for OneDrive for Business, and you can access your documents there. Let's say you're walking down the hallway and you're like, oh, I need to make a change in that Word document. You can open it up on your phone. You can set up your Exchange account on the phone too if you want to be able to check your email, of course. And you can also pin OneDrive to your home screen and allow you to access it easily. All right, let's move now into a demo for OneDrive for Business. I'm going to start off this demonstration showing you the web browser view of OneDrive for Business. And this is accessible via Office 365. Let me just show you what I mean there. If I go here, I can access the rest of Office 365. And right now, of course, I'm in OneDrive for Business. And what you're going to see here is a list of folders. And then below that list of folders, you'll see a list of files. And I demo Office on a very regular basis, so you're going to see some strangely named files here. Don't let that bother you. And we can scroll down and you can see I've got lots of folders and lots of files here. Now, I've synchronized this device to OneDrive for Business. And what exactly does that mean? If I open up my Windows File Explorer, you can see here, and I'll just put these side by side, you can see here that all of these folders and all of these file names are the same. And the way I've done that is I've pushed this sync button, and I'll just push it here to show you what happens. It's going to open up the OneDrive app. And at this point, it will ask you which folders you want to synchronize. Now, you can change this at any time. If you decide to synchronize some folders and you decide later, you know what, I don't want those, or I need some other ones, you'll be able to go back in. And you'll see right now I've got this previous PC folder, and I have that unchecked because that was a file dump from a PC that I had to turn in. And instead of worrying about do I need each individual file, I only had like 2 gigs worth of stuff. So I just dumped it on my OneDrive, but I don't want to synchronize that to all the rest of my devices, right? So I have that unchecked. And then the rest of my stuff I have synchronized. Now once you move into maybe having, several hundred gigs of files stored in your OneDrive, this becomes more important because that's a lot of hard drive space. And depending on how big your devices are in terms of storage, you may need to make some decisions. All right, so I'm already synchronizing. I don't need to start to select Start Sync, but that's what you would do if you're synchronizing your device for the first time. Once again, I'll just close out of this. The sync button is right here. You'll click that, okay? Now to access the client after you've done this, just go down here and you are going to right click on the little blue cloud. By the way, don't confuse these two. The white cloud is your personal OneDrive. The blue cloud is your OneDrive for Business. I'm going to right click on the OneDrive for Business app, and I'm going to show you a couple things here. First of all, if you'd like to pause synchronization, you can do that by clicking here, and then you're going to select 2, 8, or 24 hours, okay? And maybe you do that because of a bandwidth concern. You can also, if you want to, go to your settings right here. And in your settings, anytime you want, you can go back in and select Choose Folders, and that's going to open up this screen again. So if you decide, you know what, I don't need this demo material synchronized anymore, I'm going to uncheck that. So that's a way to get back into that file synchronization management right here, okay? Next up, I want to show you your recent documents. So I can click on Recent right here. And I'm going to see a bunch of recent documents that I opened up from my OneDrive for Business. And I can open them up right here again if I want to. If I wanted to open up this lazy dog, this is just a test Word document that says the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, and I can open it up here. Here, I'll just show you. And that's going to open up in the web app. And then, of course, if I wanted to, I could edit it in Word as well. Likewise, if I go back to Files here, I can open up anything I want to the same way. I'll just open up this spreadsheet. And you can see it's just a sample spreadsheet. Once again, I could also edit the workbook either in Excel or in the browser. Okay? Down here we have this function called Shared With Me. This is pretty neat because when I click on it, what it does is it shows me all of the documents that have been shared with me. and who shared them with me and the activity based on that. So that's a great way to check out who, what's shared with you. So next up, I'm going to show you how to access OneDrive for Business right from Office. In order to do that, I'll simply open up an Office application. Let's open up Excel, which just personally, that's my favorite Office application. And I'll just open up a blank workbook to start. So let's say that I'm doing some work here in Excel. Okay? And then I decide, you know what, I want to save this document. But I don't want to save it on my machine, because what if something happens to my machine? This is very obviously an important business document here. So I need to save this on my OneDrive for Business. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to File, and then I select Save As. And then I select my OneDrive for Business. Now, remember to keep in mind, you also have your the capability to save your personal. Don't save documents to your personal OneDrive. Save them to the work OneDrive. And I'll just call this my happy spreadsheet. And save it. And there we go. Now I have saved the happy spreadsheet on my OneDrive for Business right within the Office interface. I can also share. If I go to File, I select Share, and I can go share with people. Now I could also email, but it's generally better to share with this function right here. I'll click Share with People, and here is where I'm going to type the name or email address of someone I want to share this document with, and I'll send it to them. And that way it's shared right inside Office, the exact same functionality as sharing it from OneDrive for Business. What if I want to open up a document from my OneDrive for Business? I just go to Open, and then here, select my OneDrive for Business, and here's the familiar menu that you've been seeing. I can select any one of these documents and open it. Okay? So that's a great way to access OneDrive for Business right from the Office client. Now earlier, what I did was I created an Excel spreadsheet and I saved it right to my OneDrive. What if I want to create that document right on my OneDrive? That's easy to do too. I just go New, and from this drop-down menu here, I can select what kind of document I want to make. Let's just make an Excel workbook. Stick with the theme here. And by default here, we open up in the web browser. And I'm just going to type some numbers in here just to show that we are actually editing this spreadsheet. And then I want to change the name. I don't want to call it Book 2. I'll call this one my second happy spreadsheet. And then what I can do here is save it. And we're in the web app, so I actually don't need to manually save. I'm going to leave. And then we'll look here for the second happy spreadsheet. There it is. As you can see, we created it a few seconds ago. Okay? So right here in your file management area, as you see, you can open, you can preview, share. If you want to copy a link to the file, you can do that here. Download it, delete it. You can move to, copy to, you can rename the file. And then over here, I can see who this is shared with. And right now, this item, as you can see, is not shared. And if I click on Manage Access right here, and I want to grant access to someone, this opens up the interface where I can once again type the name or email address of the person, go ahead and send them a little message, and share that out with them. And right here, this is important. You can toggle the Can Edit or Can View. You don't want to accidentally give someone you intended to give viewing privileges, editing privileges. So that's something to keep in mind. Now that you are knowledgeable about OneDrive for Business, you might be thinking, I've got some files on my machine that really ought to be stored there, and how do I get them there? Simple enough. You can do that one of two ways. Upload, and you select folders or files. So I'll just go ahead and select files. And then this just opens up this interface right here, and you're going to grab, whatever file from your PC and upload it. Another way to upload is if I just go to my Windows File Explorer, and I'm going to grab this file here called Fictitious Names, and I'm going to upload that to my OneDrive for Business. Watch this. I'm going to drag a file from my File Explorer to OneDrive for Business, and you'll see it's uploading. That was just a drag and drop right onto the web browser interface, okay? I can check the progress right here. It's just about done. And now I should be able to find it. Here it is, Fictitious Names. It's a CSV file. So we encourage you then to store your important business documents in your OneDrive for Business, to synchronize your devices to your OneDrive for Business, and to take advantage of all the sharing and backup and collaborative features of OneDrive for Business. We're at the end of today's demonstration. I hope this training has been valuable to you. You can visit microsoft.com/itshowcase/productivity to view additional live webinars and productivity training on Microsoft products and services. Thank you for joining me.